So you're not who you imagine or where you imagine you want to be at this current point in time. What do you do? How do you handle it? In this video, we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into real stories as we usually do. So keep watching. Before we start, if you all would click that subscribe button whenever you see it, I'd really appreciate it because we're going to keep growing this channel. Okay, so why does this matter, right? It's the gap between who you are and where you thought that you'd be. And that's a weird place to be because there's times in life where we're like, oh, by this age, I'm going to be this, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have this lifestyle or whatever. And then once we get to that age, we're like, it is looking completely different. And then we get depressed, then we get, really thrown off target. And then we kind of have some downtime. And that downtime, depending on who you are, can be a day, a week, a month, a year, years. And you're just kind of grieving this whole process without doing anything. So what do you do, right? So I'll give you all like a quick story. So in 2018, if you all don't know me personally, I was actually on the show, The Bachelorette. I got pulled onto that show. But while I was on that show, my kind of like home life and everything, I say home life, like my life was in a little bit of just disarray because I just didn't know what I was going to do or what the trajectory of my life was. It's part of the reason why I said yes to going on the show, because I was like, I don't really have anything that I'm really focusing on, right? The apparel company that I was growing wasn't really growing at the time. We were just kind of in that starting phase of trying to figure it out. My tech career, I was like kind of working a tech job, but I wasn't super passionate about it. So I just didn't know where to go. And I think at the time I was 27, 28, and I was not where I thought that I would be, right? And so this was a very weird thing. And then also being on the show, I was only on for 2 episodes. So then when I'm back home, like 10 days after, not even 10 days, maybe 6 or 7 days after I went on this thing, I'm like, okay, now I'm not working at the job. I'm going back into working, building my apparel company and having no income, no idea what's going to happen. And I'm like, I'm 28, I'm looking 30 down the barrel, and I'm seeing friends and people that I think are so far ahead with, in marriages and having kids and their careers going well. And I was really comparing myself, and I was like, okay, what do I do? So there was a few things that I had to really ground myself and figure out so that I could get my confidence back and feel good about where I was going. The first thing is, number one, I started focusing on the fact that progress isn't linear. So we always think that if we do A, we're going to get B, and that's just kind of how it's going to happen. But what we don't realize is that there's a lot of kind of things that happen that are outside of our control, and that's okay. And what I wasn't taken into account was my progress in my life was very different than some of my friends' life, right? So some of my friends graduated college, they got a great job, they got married, they had kids, and that's phenomenal, right? But what I did was I went to college, I got a job, I then moved to San Diego. I left the job. I was running my fitness company. Then I started an fitness apparel company. And then I was like working tech here or there, but really trying to grow the apparel company. Then I went on to the Bachelorette. I was a bodybuilding athlete. There was all of these different things, right, that I was doing. And I thought that I wasn't progressing, but I realized like my progress wasn't linear. I was actually progressing in developing into a well-rounded being of myself, but my progress of what I thought of where I was going to get to was not the same as what I thought, right? So when I realized that, and I was able to take a look back and be like, oh, but I've accomplished some things. I've done some things that other people haven't done, and that maybe they would want to, trade lives with me because I've had some really cool experiences. I was able to sit back and say, oh, I have done some cool things. So if you're able to do that with yourself and say, hey, I might not be exactly where I want to be, but I've had some experiences that have really, really shaped who I am, and I really like who I am. That's going to help. So progress isn't linear. Number 2, stop measuring yourself based on outgrown metrics. So when I was like 20 to 21, I would always say to my roommate at the time, by 25, I'm going to get a Ferrari. And that was like my metric. I was like, my metric of success was to get a Ferrari so that my ego could feel good when somebody saw me in a Ferrari. I don't know. But by the time I hit 25, 26, I actually didn't care about that. And I realized like, oh, well, if I kept judging myself based on that metric and I didn't have what I thought that I should have, I feel pretty depressed, right? And so that goes into like life now. So when I was in my later 20s and before Carly and I started dating, if I said my metric back then, I was like, oh, I want to still make a lot of money. I might want to buy a condo in San Diego, live the fast single life or whatever. If that was my metric of success right now, I would be in a bad state of affairs because things change, right? Your life changes. So if you aren't where you imagine, maybe where you are right now and what you're imagining now is not the same metric of success. So redefine that metric. And so what that does is that gives you a clearer view of where you are, because I've realized that sometimes like we really hold these stories in our head of like where we should be. And the reality is like life has a lot of uncontrollables and they have a lot of controllables. And I always tend towards the controllables. If you're doing things that you enjoy doing, but then they aren't getting you the life that you imagine, maybe the life that you imagine isn't a life that you would actually enjoy. So really lock into where you are and redefine your metrics of success and then go in that direction, right? So again, number 2, stop measuring yourself based on outgrown metrics. Number 3, grieve the past life and move on. We can get really stuck up on where we thought that we should be, and life and days just pass us by. And we haven't taken any steps to improving where we are in the moment, to improve the trajectory that we're going. And so we just sit and we wallow and we don't do anything, right? And then months and years go by, and then what do? We look back on those months and years we didn't do anything, and we say, oh, I wish I did something in those times. And then we feel even worse, and then it just extends, right? So if you find a way for you to healthily grieve where you thought that you would be, and the faster you're able to move on in a healthy way, the faster you're going to get to a better life and a better place for yourself where you feel more fulfilled. So grieve it and move on. Number 4, try something that you're scared of. I say I'm a walking example of trying things that I'm scared of. There's things that I've done where I only did because I was like, oh, this kind of scares me and I kind of just want to see where it's at. Things that I would venture to say that at first I was like, oh, I kind of didn't want to do, but then I was happy I did it. Became a bodybuilding.com athlete because I just signed up for a spokesmodel search, and I was like, okay, let me just see where that is. When I was pulled onto the Bachelorette, I was asked to be on the season before, and I said no. And then that next season came up and they reached back out, and I was like, you know what? Might as well, right? I moved to San Diego from Virginia just kind of on a whim in my mid-20s. There are things that I just was like, oh, I'm just going to try it because I just want to see where my life could be and what I'm interested in, right? And so when you try new things that you're scared of, maybe the life that you imagine isn't a life, like I keep saying, that it would fulfill you. And maybe you need to broaden your scope, and maybe you need to broaden some of the things that you're doing and broaden your sights and see other things that would actually fulfill you, that you would enjoy doing. And once you do that, you might be like, oh, wait a second, this life that I thought that would fulfill me, that I thought that would be so great for me, that I thought that I imagined isn't at all what I actually enjoy doing. Because when you do things that you're scared of, you're going to see all of the other things. You're going to be like, I like that, don't like that, I want to do more of that, don't want to do more of that. But you start to actually have a picture and a mental image of who you are and who you want to be, versus just having a narrow view, which I think that at a younger age, it's very easy for us to have a narrow view because we don't have as much life experience. So when you have more experiences, you're able to have more opinions on what you want to do, who you want to be, where you want to go, right? So try something that you're scared of. And number 5, I say this all the time, create clarity through action. Take action, just do it. It's very easy to sit and think and overanalyze and, oh, what are we going to do with this? We just had our daughter, right? And so the amount of things that we've read and the amount of kind of advice that we've received and stuff like that, we could sit back and we could think of that all the time and create this, plan or whatever. But it's like, by the time when she's here, it's like, okay, let's just act and let's figure it out along the way. We create clarity for ourselves through our actions, right? Like our schedule for our daughter, our schedule for ourselves in our day, our schedule, making sure that there's the intimacy that's still there, that we're focused on each other as well, on top of being parents. Those things, we can only create clarity through action. We can't just sit back and say, you know what, we've read a book about it and now we feel very clear about it, and so, yeah, we're perfect, we're good to go. No, you create clarity through action, because when you're in the fire for things, that's when you're able to have a better view and a better picture. So the life that you imagine in the area that you want to be, create clarity through action, act, go out there, go do things that you're scared of. So again, just to wrap this all up, number 1, progress is not linear. Sometimes you're progressing and you might not even see it. You might not even know because you're not even focused on the actual progress that you're making. Number 2, stop measuring your success based on outgrown metrics. You're older now, you're wiser now. Some of the metrics that you were trying to define yourself just don't even matter. They don't even match up to who you are. So don't measure yourself based on outgrown metrics. Number 3, grieve it and move on. The faster that you get over it, the faster you're able to move on, the faster you're able to sit back and say, okay, cool, let's build a life that we want to, and let's get to where we truly want to be. Number 4, try something that you're scared of. I'm always somebody who, hey, raise my hand, I'm going to go do it and try it anyway, because you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something about yourself, the process, the thing, you're going to learn something. And number 5, the last thing is create clarity through action. Act. You can sit and you can think and you can try to logic your way through it by just sitting in a chair. But what is it? Worry is like a chair. It gives you something. Worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but gets you nowhere. That's kind of like things in life. You can sit and you can just worry and think, but it's not going to get you anywhere. You have to get up and you have to act. You have to move. So that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Really appreciate you all for watching, subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you all next time on the other side. Peace.